With all the sports leagues currently starting, have many of us actually thought about the economic impact of sports on the African continent? We already know how sports looks like on a global level. Many of us, many people like to watch EPL, La Liga, and other leagues. But what about the African continent? Do we ever have this discussion in regards to what is it and what does sports mean to us? As Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda are facing the 2027 AFCON, we will be hosting the 2027 AFCON. What are the things that we have put in place in order for us to actually be able to host such a prestigious event? We are looking at sports tourism, which is one of the major things that we're going to be focusing on, and especially for 3 countries. These are a lot of people globally that will be coming into the East African side. The first time that we are hosting this thing, thinking out loud, we are looking at the hotels, we are looking at tourism across board. A lot of people have been to East Africa, and it's such an exciting moment for us to just sit and realize that there's so much that we can do in order for us to actually harness this particular event. But that's not just the we need to look at. On the African continent itself, Africa has a football culture. We currently have a basketball culture. NFL has just started coming into the continent, and it's pretty doing well at the moment. They're in Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, Nigeria. We've also seen the NBA coming in with basketball, and recently we saw how well the South Sudanese team did during the Olympics. These are some of the examples of how amazing sports can be, but what is the economic impact? We are looking at sports on a global level, contributing up to almost 10 to 15% of a country's GDP. In Africa alone, being that we have the youngest population, we are looking at a situation where we could dominate the sports arena if we really put in much of our investment onto the continent. As we speak, and especially in football, one thing that I've noticed is a lot of us, we export talent. And I've been trying to figure out, how can we retain this talent? How can we retain our own talent? We have so much here, but we've not developed it enough infrastructure-wise, putting in enough investment into it to be able to have a proper impact. And I believe with a lot of countries, and especially in Africa, facing young generations without jobs, sports could be the solution into fixing this thing. Because if you're looking at several teams globally, some of them like Man City, if you hear a team that can employ over 2,000 people, now imagine several teams across the continent. That is a significant a number of unemployed people coming into the sports industry. But not just that, we're also looking at careers. Careers in sports being such a major thing. We are also importing professionals into the African continent. We're importing coaches. At the moment, I believe the Kenya Harambee Stars is being coached by a non-Kenyan coach. And for us, I believe that for Africa to be able to thrive, we need to start looking at how us as a people are able to rise to the occasion, believe in our own people, train our own people in order for us to succeed. We saw how well Nigerian coaches have coached the Nigerian team all the way to being one of the major superstars. It's a clear example that it is possible for that to happen. We've seen it in Egypt, we've seen it in Morocco, we've seen it in South Africa. They do not import their expertise. And that is one thing that I think as an African continent we need to be able to face, that indeed we can be able to thrive on our own by being able to invest enough to make sure that we are developing our own as well as the players on the pitch.